Hello, everybody. This is the Honey Jam Pod. I'm your host, Janice.
I'm your co-host, Jessica.
We're both your hosts on this podcast.
That's right.
And you might be wondering, wow, you guys sound so professional already. Just can you explain why that's so?
Yeah, I mean, this is just easy peasy for us. We're so relaxed. Been there, done that.
Yes.
It's not our first rodeo, if you will.
It is our first episode, but it feels like our fourth episode because why?
I'm just gonna say it feels like our second season at this point. Because basically this is our fourth attempt to launch our first episode. We've had technical difficulties. Our past one didn't upload.
We had Wi-Fi issues.
You name it. You name everything. We've had it all.
There.
We've been there, done that. And the surprising thing is, honestly, I took it as a sign that, you know what? Maybe it's not time. We will do a podcast, but maybe our time is not now, you know? Maybe we should wait on it. But Janice would not let it go.
I couldn't.
She did not give up. This girl she's relentless. She won't relent until she has it all. 절대 포기 안 하고 끝까지.
I'm not giving up.
She even sent me a Google invite for tonight's episode to just remind me.
It has to be official.
It was like, at a certain point, I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna just for vengeance sake, I'm gonna freaking do this thing so that we can launch one episode at least. Because I was just so angry that things didn't work out.
If we just ended it there, it would have been so 억울해, you know?
I would have felt pretty defeated, but I'm so glad Janice has, she's a champion. She's not gonna back down.
I mean, listen, this podcast has been in the talks for how many years? Since college?
10 years. It's 10 years in the making, I would say.
Truly.
Since we were 20 years old.
I can't let it go. So here we are.
I respect you, Janice. I respect you. So that's why you're my best friend, dog.
That's right. And that's why we decided to start this Honey Jam podcast. It's just two best friends sharing some fun stories, just chilling, just catching up. Jess is located in Orange County, California. I'm in the Valley.
Do you know specifically where, Janice? Where I'm at?
Buena Park, okay, right next to H Mart.
Because let's just say that Janice is pretty notorious for thinking everywhere is Orange County. But we'll get into that later. We'll save it for the pod.
We'll dive into the details. This first episode is really just going to be an introduction of who we are, what we're planning to do here, what our audience can expect.
Okay, but can I be honest, Janice?
Be completely honest. I want only honesty.
So, when Janice kind of proposed this, hey, we're going to start this podcast. We're going to do our first episode. It's going to be chill. We're going to talk about ourselves. I was like, dude, yeah.
I already know.
So chill.
I already know where this is going.
Wait, why?
Keep going.
You do? Going. And I was just like, man, it's going to be so nice and relaxed. I'm going to catch up with Janice. We're going to share about our lives. And I honestly thought, no one would be interested. Maybe our close girlfriends who would listen.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
But so recently I uploaded a story about how we've had technical difficulties about our podcast. And I kind of teased, that it's coming.
You wanted to get a taste a little bit, didn't you? You wanted to see what the audience would react.
How they would react.
Oh,
no. I had zero expectations. Zero. I just kind of uploaded it because I thought it was funny that, you set everything up and you're like, you know what? We'll try it again next time. You set all the camera stands up and it was just hilarious to me. So I uploaded it. But the 반응, Janice, the 반응.
How was it?
I just want to say it was hot. It was hot.
Was it?
Yes. I've had so many messages saying, what is your podcast about? Everyone's inquiring about it,
Wow,
And
really?
I just want to say that kind of made me nervous. I was like, "Oh, you want to listen to us?" And
I
like
think, yeah.
people would ask, "What are you guys gonna like? What's the theme? Like, what are
Like
you guys talking
it feels
about?"
really official, huh?
It felt so official when they asked me that, and I was like, "We're literally gonna talk about nothing. It's just gonna be like about stupid stuff, like where the conversation takes us."
Yeah.
And I don't know, like now I feel like very like, is anyone gonna be interested in what we're saying right now? I don't know. I'm losing confidence.
That's really funny because the first 3 episodes this is the fourth time, right? Yeah, the first 3 episodes that we recorded, I was so nervous and Jess was so confused. Like, Janice, we're just having a casual conversation. Why are you so nervous? I literally we literally recorded an hour episode and I was like drenched in sweat because I was so nervous.
I was
But
confused.
yeah, at this point, I'm not nervous at all. It's just you and me. No one's listening. If they want to listen, they can listen. Okay.
Well, how the turns have tabled. How the turns have tabled.
That's right. I will say, because you reminded me of the 반응 of the reaction, I just got nervous again.
And now that you're nervous, I feel a little bit more calm. How about that, huh?
We need the best of both worlds.
We
Here
do.
on this
And I just
pod.
want to say, I just want to bring up a story that I brought up maybe
Oh,
the first or
okay.
second attempt of our episode.
Oh.
Janice is just kind of like that. Like,
Mm.
she gets nervous about the weirdest things. Like, just the weirdest things. Like 포인트가 nervous 하면 안 되는데 she gets nervous and she makes everybody else nervous. So
Okay.
we went to Disneyland.
Mm-hmm. This is an example.
This is an example. We went to Disneyland and we were waiting to take a picture with the fake Thor and Loki.
An actor
at Disneyland. Like pursuing actors at Disneyland. not to 무시해 them, but like they're
aspiring actors.
Aspiring actors who look remotely like, Thor and Loki. And we're just waiting and we're like, cool, let's take a picture because, like, the line is pretty short. Let's wait. And Janice is like drenching in sweat and she's like panting and panicking. And she's like, is anyone nervous, guys? It's just me. And because Janice is panicking, it's freaking contagious and it's making me nervous all of a sudden that I'm meeting Thor.
Well, let me ask you this, Jess. Was he not hot? They got a good actor.
He was pretty, like, he looked pretty similar. Yeah. And he was pretty, like, suave too. Like, he was like, hey ladies, like, very, very, yeah.
So I basically made everyone else nervous because that's the point of the story.
Yeah, that is the point of the story.
Okay. Let me just
gather yourself.
Oh, really back.
판묘야?
판묘. Did you watch that?
No, I didn't. It looks so scary.
Dude, okay.
I would never.
Sorry, tangent. Danielle, our good friend Danielle, had free CGV tickets on a random, like, Saturday, right? We were supposed to go to a cafe and, like, work on some stuff. She was going to study. But she was like, hey, we should just watch a movie first and then let's study after. I was like, I'm down. I didn't know about this movie. And I'm very scared of, like, horror. Like, I can do thriller, but it's like very specific types of thriller, like Quiet Place I can do. That's like my limit. I walked into his movie theater not knowing about this movie. It's freaking about, like, exorcisms and, like, graveyard hunting.
Wait, Janice, you watched it?
I watched it with Danielle.
Oh my god.
It was freaking scary. It was okay. So it, like, starts off really scary, like spooky, and then towards the end, it like 너무 말이 안 돼서 it kind of like lost the horror aspect.
I see.
But anyways, that's how I know.
It just and then Kungu was like, it reminded me of The Wailing.
Okay, that's what I didn't want to watch it because it was giving me Wailing vibes.
Did you see Wailing?
I didn't, but you did.
Okay,
I know
we're going off on a
complete
complete tangent here. I don't know what we're talking about, but this is how the podcast is gonna go. Like,
this is just a
flow of
taste
the conversation. Yeah, exactly. But okay, so The Wailing, when it came out, Josh was like, "Hey, Jess, do you want to watch this movie? It's a psychological thriller."
Josh is Jess's husband.
Yes, Josh is. Do you have to? Are you assuming that?
Hey, I'm assuming that you know what? If we're gonna do this, we have to assume that people outside of our friend groups are gonna listen. You know, dream
Okay.
big. Okay, go on.
Dream like P-sick.
That's
Got
right.
it. Got it. Okay.
Pisik de hack.
So my husband, he's like, "Let's watch this movie called The Wailing. It's a psychological thriller." Um, it's not, but he says it's a psychological thriller. It's a straight up horror Kishin exorcism movie. I don't think that's a psychological thriller. I picked a fight with my husband saying, why would you make me watch that, Josh? Like, I was pissed at him
Yeah.
for bringing me to this movie. And he's like, dude, I didn't know. And that movie is just like so disturbing, so scary. And another crazy thing is, do you want to share what happened? After Tokju.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Watched it. You do, Janice. Come on. Remember Tokju, who is our friend, Eric Tokju Kim. He, during that time, I think he slept over at our K-Town apartment because he was going to like a retreat or something the next day.
Gosh.
So he was like gonna carpool with people. And so he slept over that night. I wasn't there, but he slept over and he watched The Wailing.
By himself? Oh, before we came.
I don't know who he watched it with. I think Jane was there because Jane Shin, our old roommate, she was there. And he watched it on the laptop, right? In the living room area on the rug, right? And then he fell asleep and he was sleeping there in the living room on the rug. And he like got scissor lock or something.
After watching the movie.
After watching the movie, he had a dream that like a demon was coming out of that rug.
Oh my gosh.
And then he couldn't move. That's what scissor lock is, but
I totally forgot about that
movie
story.
is demonic.
You know, we also need to talk about the nightmares we had of each other.
Oh
but maybe,
my gosh.
Maybe after we talk about our podcast a little bit.
Okay. Sorry.
No. I love this. Like, this is what you're going to get on the Honey Jam pod. We're just going to
It's just going to be us chatting it up.
That's right. So I want to talk about how this podcast came to be. So yeah, Jess talked about this a little bit, but during college, like, you know, Jess and I were two just like gabudis, and like we always just loved talking, and so we always talked about like, let's do a podcast. And so we're finally doing this. Jess is now a mother to a beautiful boy, Hui, who is almost
18 months. He is. He's 1.5.
Yeah, he's almost 2. So you can imagine she's busy as hell, you know. And so I forced her to do this. So thank you to Jess. And so I'm really glad that we're doing this. But again, yeah. But I think I did some research before this, and I was like really excited. And I was like, how can we get this out into the world and like be really interesting and like unique? But we're just another podcast, just another pair of friends who want to do this podcast. We're nothing special. And it's funny because when I was doing some research into what name we should name this podcast, like, I won't say the name actually, but I found a podcast with a pair of Korean American girls like us, best friends. And it was just so funny how like there are other people out there who are just like us. You know, we're not special, but we're going to have fun with it.
It's funny because those two girls, Janice sent it to me, and one of them even sounded like Janice. It was like a parallel universe. Yeah. Like, wait, is this us? Did we already do this podcast?
And listening to that, it made me very discouraged. I was like, damn, I'm not special. I thought this was going to be just like a genius idea. But
we're just basic.
Yeah, basically we're basic. And we want to talk about some of the podcast name options that we went through, Jess?
Yeah, so we went through like quite a few. And by the way, we're laughing because we talked about this 3 other times in our attempts for our first episode launch.
That's right.
And it's like basically we're regurgitating this joke and this dialogue.
I imagine this is how like comedians or like stand-up comedians feel, because like they're recycling their jokes, you know, they're
Their jokes,
writing
yeah.
it down, they're studying it, and they're recycling it. So anyways,
Yeah.
you want to talk about it?
It's like acting at this point, kind of, but you know what? We wanted to share with you guys because it's so funny. So what I thought of, and this is like a little different from what I shared before, but I thought of sullen. So it sounds like 서른, which means 30, because that's our age. And sullen means like sad, but it's kind of like ironic because Janice and I are not sad people. And, you know, we just wanted to maybe like be a little quirky like that, sullen.
Yeah. It was a close
but
second.
I don't know. Maybe, yeah, it was a close second, and maybe it was like a bit of a stretch. We were like, maybe people won't get it. So we asked, Janice asked my husband Josh, because he can be pretty punny.
He's a punny guy.
He's a punny guy. So she asked Josh, like, hey, like, give us some ideas for our podcast. Did you want to bring up the list, Janice, and see?
Yeah, the first one was Dumb Asian Girl Pod. It never gets old. It never gets old. The second one was what was it? Book Smart Street Dumb Pod.
Yeah.
So
he presented those ideas, and like in the text chat in our group, and we're just like, you're just dissing us at this point, dude.
Like that's not even clever. It's just you're just saying we're dumb. Okay, that is seriously the last time I'm saying we're not going to ever bring that up again. If this podcast does not work out for some reason, I'm not saying that ever again.
If we have this dialogue again, Janice, I quit.
I think we're off to a great start.
I think we are.
You know,
we are.
Another point that I want to bring up actually is being 30. We're 30 years old. I figured like we have to do something fun, you know, especially Jess. She's like, you know, hustling with work, taking care of a kid. Me, I'm just bored out of my mind after work, maybe even during work, dare I say. Sometimes, you know, I'm not working who works 100% of the time, you know? I was like, okay, I want to be proud of something. I want to produce something. I want to be creative.
You've been on that creative high, Janice.
I have.
You've been creating a lot of content, and I've been enjoying seeing your creations.
Thanks, Jess.
It's been really nice. And why don't you share like kind of like how you were inspired? Because I feel like that's very important. Like why you're so driven to do this and to create.
Yeah, I think like for sure, like I've always had like a goal. I think I've always been kind of like a creative person. Again, like, you know, everybody wants to become an influencer. Everyone wants to make money and monetize on their content. Everyone wants to make a podcast. But like, so I was like just part of that group. But I think like what made me really want to do this is like, you know, 30 is supposed to, like, I think I just don't care anymore at 30. You know, they say like at 30, like you know yourself more. There's that. But then also like, and I've shared this before, but you know, I was influenced by other podcasts, like shout out to the Living Room Pod, hilarious. Shim and Shin, also hilarious. Samcha, so wise, so boss. Even off the pulpit, shout out to our pastors. And I think like the post that actually like pushed me off the edge, pushed me off the fence, is Grace Ryu. Shout out to Grace Ryu, Mama G. Yeah. She is a like she's getting up there. She's blowing up, momfluencer. She uploaded a post about her like morning routine, just like 3 hours. It was like 3 short hours, you know. Like I could watch a movie that's 3 hours, but this girl, she's like a nurse. She's like studying. She also has a kid. And she's uploading content, and like in the 3 hours she made like 4 meals, and I was just so inspired by that. Like, what am I doing with my life? Like in those 3 hours I'm doing nothing. I'm just sitting here waiting for the next Netflix episode of like some show, you know. So I think I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna freaking just bite the bullet and do it, and force Jess to do it with me. So that's how we got here.
And you know, like I feel like I wanted you to share that for the 4th time. Because I feel like a lot of people can 공감해.
Yes.
Like if they're at our age, like if they're 30, if they're younger or older, like to be inspired by something and to pursue it and to do something about it. I think that's very admirable. And, I hope whoever is listening, whoever feels stagnant
Yes.
or dull, you know what? Let this inspire you.
That is seriously such a good, I think that's what I also wanted to, share too. So thank you. This is Jess and I mean, just Jess, she reads my mind like this sometimes. It's like, I don't know how she does it.
We've been buffs for a while, so we complement each other very well.
Yeah. And speaking of being buffs, BFFs or BUFFs, FSs, do you want to talk about how we met and then all that jazz?
Dude, okay, so this too, it's really funny because the last episode, our third attempt, we did this, right? And we were so excited because we had the time of our lives, and Janice was so relaxed and she was so funny. And we were so excited to launch this episode, and then it just got lost. And so
what happened was 100% of my footage got uploaded and 50% of Jess's footage got uploaded. So half the time I'm talking to myself. There's nobody on the other side. Anyways, I think it's good practice. It was great practice. We know what to say.
Really? Okay. Well, I thought, okay. So when we first met, so we met at UCLA.
Let's go Bruins.
That was when let's go Bruins. That's where we first met. And we were both freshmen, kind of looking for a club to fit into, to meet people, right? And since we're both Korean American, since we're both Christian, naturally we looked into Korean Christian groups, right? So for me, I don't know what other groups you checked out, Janice, but for me, I checked out I think 3 groups. It was KCCC,
yep.
KCM, which we eventually both joined, and even CASA. I went to a few.
Yeah. Those are the 3 I visited too.
Didn't you go to CCM too?
No, I never visited CCM.
Oh, you didn't?
Yeah, it was just those 3.
Nice. Yeah. All right. So we were synced up even from the start.
That's right.
Just checking out those 3 groups. And so, because we were checking out those groups, we would see each other during 0 week. That's what they call before classes start, right?
Yeah, where you get to know the campus, meet some people.
Meet some people, and that's where they have all their events, ice cream socials, bonfires, things like that.
Yes.
Memories. But yeah, I would say my first impression of Janice was just the girl next to Eunice Pack.
Shout out.
That was my first impression. Shout out to Eunice Pack. And for those of you who don't know who Eunice is, she's just the epitome of a cool girl.
Yeah. 포스가 장난 아니지.
포스도 장난 아니고 엄청 예쁘고 그리고 그냥 just a cool girl, she's the it girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. So naturally wherever she goes, it's people notice her. And even now, where is she living, Janice? Isn't she in
Amsterdam right now? Yeah.
She's in Amsterdam. Dude,
so
just
hip.
Even from that, so cool, right?
Yep.
You could already feel how cool this girl is. So I'm just wow, who's that? Oh, it's Eunice. And then next to her is this girl named Janice. And I'm okay. 진짜 관심 없음. Okay, that's kind of mean.
No, it's okay.
But
Be
진짜로
honest.
그냥 전혀 관심이 없었고
yeah.
그냥 I guess it's just Eunice's friend. Okay, all right, cool.
Eunice is a little wacky.
Exactly. And I feel the first interaction I had with Janice, the one that I can remember is we were at KCM, a general meeting. So that's where all the college students or people checking out KCM go on a Thursday night to do service together, to worship, to hear a devotional by a pastor, and just fellowship with each other.
We love the Lord.
But we love the Lord. And the first GM, I think they did, I don't even know what it was, but they did a special event thing where I won, I was part of the crowd and I won a WWJD bracelet.
Yeah, super cute.
What would Jesus do?
Super hip.
I guess that was like 좀 유행 during that time.
Yeah.
I didn't even know, but like it was kind of like trending at that time. And then I want it and I got it. And then I hear like, whoa, from the back of me, right? So I turn around and it's Janice going like, whoa, right? Like, oh, so lucky. Well, can I try it on? And so I give it to her. Or no, I noticed that and I'm like, oh, like this is my memory of that moment. I'm like, oh, Janice, do you want it?
She turns
like, you
around.
can have it. Uh-huh. I turn around and say, oh, do you want it, Janice? You can have it. And she goes, oh, really? No, it's okay. You keep it. You keep it, Jessica. And I'm like, oh, no, it's okay. I don't need it. You can have it. And that was like kind of like my attempt to be friendly, to leave like a good impression on my peer, right? And just kind of like, like a, hey.
I have a question though. I have a question right there.
What?
There.
What? Okay.
Did you actually want it?
No.
I knew it.
But it wasn't like 버리는 그런 vibe, It wasn't like I don't want it anyways, like here. Not like that, but it's like I didn't really know like that it was like 유행ing, and it wasn't that important to me in the moment.
Right.
And then you seemed like you really wanted it.
Yeah.
So it was a friendly gesture on my part to be like, hey, you can have it. Like I don't really want it, so you can have it. But it was kind of like me being like, oh, like,
yeah,
like notice me a little bit,
Trying to
like
be friends.
I want to be your friend.
Yeah.
Trying to be friends. Yeah. I just wanted to be a nice person and like have you, think that way too.
Yeah. But here's my perspective. Can I?
Yes.
Enter.
Yes. Please go ahead.
Okay. The way I
Enter what? Interject.
Interject.
Can I
interject? I interpreted it as Jess not wanting it and just basically throwing it away to me. And so I was like, "Whoa, 좋겠다." And then as soon as she offered it to me, I didn't want it anymore. I was like, "This girl
삐뚤어졌어.
This girl just she doesn't want it. She doesn't think it's cool. Then I don't want it." But I took it, and I wore it well. So that was our first interaction actually.
Yeah, and you thanked me too. You were like, you didn't show that at all. That you were like offended.
Thank you.
I think it happened. 근데 속으로는.
Yeah, I think it happened after. Like I accepted it, and I turned around. I was like, wait, why did she give it to me? Is this not cool? But okay, go on.
Yeah. Well, okay, and then that was like my first impression, and then the second impression was when we like later met. But then I feel like you had like a different impression, so you can go ahead and talk about. I think the next time.
Yeah.
During that time, we didn't interact, but you definitely had a strong impression of me at Broomballing.
How about okay, and I'll go, and then you talk about A&O, okay?
Yes,
okay,
yes.
So
yes.
My impression of Jess was like very pretty. She had like brown hair, like very brown hair, like 깻잎머리 bangs, like to the side. She was very cute, like she was dressed very well, and she just looked like a girl.
I was very fobby.
Very fobby. Looked like she came straight from Korea, but in the best way possible, because like that she was basically everything I wanted to be in high school. You know, the 얼짱 face, the Cyworld face, Cyworld Kimsong. She actually had a Cyworld, turns out, and she had like Totori and stuff. I didn't know how to do that stuff. I wanted to be her. So what is the reaction of a recent high school graduate? It's jealousy. It's jealousy and hate. So for no reason. You
hated me just right off the bat as soon as you saw me.
Yeah, exactly. So I saw her at broomballing, and I think this was after the whole bracelet incident. But we were all having fun on the ice broomballing, and Jess, she's out of the rink on the outer skirts of the rink and just chilling with this dude. And I'm like, what is she doing? You know, like, why did she come here if she's not going to broomball, you know? So I like went over there. Like, I think I kind of want to be friends too. Like, I want to like extend my hand. So I went over, I was like, hey, Jess, like, what are you doing? You know, like, why aren't you on the ice? Like, do you think you're better than everybody? Like, why aren't you playing broomball? If you're here, you should be on the ice. Anyways. And she's like, oh, I didn't wear the right shoes. I'm like, okay, so why did you, I still remember what you wore that day too. It was like a denim, like denim romper.
맞아.
With white, like, flats.
Wow. Dude, I'm impressed. Janice.
It was a lasting impression because I was like, who does she think she is? Standing there looking all cute. Like, when we're out here, having a grand old time, 열심히 broomball 하고 있는데, 누구는, just standing there. So I remember that outfit. And she was like, genuinely, she looked very sweet. So I also have a very poor judgment on, like, people. My first impression on people, it's just, it's always wrong. So anyways, there's that.
So you, like, just hated me. You're like, who does she think she is? Why is she even here if she's not broomballing in her cute denim overall shorts with white slippery sneakers?
Yeah. Well,
why are you even here?
It wasn't like 100% hate. It was more like, I think it was like 70% curiosity and 40% hate.
That's over 100%.
You know what? I was counting on my fingers. I was counting on my fingers on this side. I was like, 70, 80, 90, 40%. I knew it was wrong. Oh, this is so embarrassing on my first episode.
That's the thing about Janice. She's, even in these mistakes, like, she's so endearing and, she knows. She knows. 30%. We went to UCLA, guys, all right? 무시하지 마.
So that's always my argument with my husband, David. He went to Cal State Long Beach, and we went to UCLA. So, like, but clearly he is smarter than me. Okay, he may be street smarter than me, but I'm book smart.
Okay,
so that's always the point.
Didn't David get, like, better SAT scores?
He got a better
like,
SAT.
high GPA.
Yes, it's a mystery why he didn't get to UCLA. But anytime he says something, like, I say something stupid, I always just go, I went to UCLA.
Though, that's very old Kim Sung too. Like, that's why we're 서른, because, like, these days I heard it's really hard to get into any school for that matter.
Competitive.
If you go to college, it's just that in itself is, like, very
a huge
admirable
accomplishment. So, yeah.
Yes. So, but brew and pride till the end.
Let's go.
Anyways, after that broomballing impression, right? For me, like, I didn't even notice this girl during broomballing. I was just doing my thing,
Your thing?
Doing my thing. And the first time we, like, actually interacted, like, had a conversation, and I guess that was kind of like the catalyst to our friendship, was when we met during our, like, what is it called? Like, GE? Like, general
education.
It's called is it general education?
Yeah.
Like, GE classes? Like, one of the classes that we have to take, right?
Yeah.
And we ended up being in a class called Atmospheric and Oceanic Sciences together.
The most random class.
Talking about clouds, talking about the atmosphere with Dr. Liu. It was a random class, and I think it was so memorable because that's where I really, really got to know Janice.
A divine
and I will never forget it,
if you will.
It is, yeah. And so Janice, like, came next to me. She's like, Jessica, you're taking this class? And I was like, yeah. And we're, like, talking in, like, English at this point, right?
Yeah.
Just only English, right? And then Janice, she, like, asks me, like, hey, can I ask you something? Who do you think is the best catch in our class? And that was, like, a thing that, like, all of us did, basically asking, like, who do you think's the cutest? Who do you think is, like, the best catch? Right? Self-explanatory.
The hot topic.
The hot topic. Yeah. It was, like, what everybody asked each other. And I was like, at the time I had a boyfriend, but it was still fun to answer the question.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I think Harris Cho is the best catch. And I just want to say, Harris Cho was a hot commodity. Shout out to our very good friend, Esther Cho, who is his wife. They're happily married, power couple.
Very
And now we
popular.
can laugh about it and talk about this, but Harris Joe, I just want to say, man, I feel like every freshman girl at one point had a crush on him.
It's true.
Right? You could agree. Yeah. And so I shared that. I was like, dude, I think he's like, very like 훈남, like 키 크고 너무 잘생겼다고. I think he's a great catch. And like, think about Harris too. Now I feel like, what's his handle? Dr. Harris Cho?
Yep. Shout out to Dr. Harris Cho.
Yep. And they're doing so well, both of them. Shout out to Asian Founded. Yes. But like now I feel like Harris is like a completely different person. I feel like it's because of his career, the persona that he has on social media. And like back then, like he was like very mysterious and quiet. So that just kind of added to his aura,
Yeah. Wow.
So I shared that.
I can't believe so I don't remember that conversation, but it's so fitting of me that that was the first question that I asked you.
Yeah, you're in for the tea right away from the start.
I was also just boy crazy.
Yes, and that's what I love about Janice. She's just real, She just went straight into it. And then, okay, so I share that, and this girl, she flexes on me.
이걸 얘기하다가 또 얘기하다가.
그걸 얘기해야지. She flexes on me right away. She's like, can I tell you something crazy? I went to homecoming with him, and I kind of had a thing with him. Which is so funny that we're talking about it right now because, like, literally Esther's like one of our best friends and, they're just married and it's just funny because, Harris is like our friend.
We all liked him at one point.
And it's just so funny that, like, after I shared, like, oh, yeah, Harris is, like, the best catch, Janice flexes on me. It's like, he liked me at one point, so you're beneath me, denim girl.
The inferiority complex. I had to like, show up somehow.
She had to flex.
Yeah,
she had to flex. And I will say it worked because that made her infinitely cooler in my eyes.
Wow. It made you respect me?
It like, before when you were Eunice Pack's lackey, like you upgraded to Harris Cho's previous crush, That's a big upgrade.
Oh my God.
Like this girl, I didn't even notice, is now who I thought was the best catch's previous interest, So,
it's funny.
Yeah, you leveled up in my book and your plan worked, bruh.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then after that, like we just started talking and then Janice started busting out some Konglish. She started talking in Korean and started sharing about her interest in like, like different, Korean dramas, Korean celebrities, all of that. And I shared this before in our previous episode that couldn't launch, but I like, and I'm sure maybe like some of you listening can kind of relate. During high school and I guess like growing up, I never really like fit in with a crowd. So it's like when I hung out with like completely Korean American Ises, we call it Ises, second gen Korean Americans, like I always felt a little fobby, like, oh, like I still like speak a little bit of Korean, I'm not like completely Americanized like them.
Yeah.
So, I felt a little off with that group. And then same for like with fobs. Like if I go to like completely like, people from Koreans from Korea, like 유학생s. With them, they thought I was too American.
Yeah.
Like there were some like words I couldn't understand, some like cultural differences because I grew up here since I was 5. So like even with them, I was just like something was off too.
Unique specimen.
I was a unique specimen. Yeah. Specimen.
Species.
Yeah. Yes. I was part of a unique species that I never knew existed. I thought I was the only one of my kind. And of course I had Joyce. Shout out to Joyce. I really miss her. My co-maid of honor. She and I were just like the only two that were kind of like that, And so we always stuck to each other. And then Joyce ended up going to Cal State Fullerton or Cal State Long Beach, just like David.
Oh.
And so we separated after high school. I didn't see her as much.
Yeah.
And then I come into UCLA and I feel like in KCM, there are a lot of, Korean Americans. And so I was like, oh, okay, I guess I gotta like put on my Korean American face, more American, face,
Oh.
and try to fit in. It's gonna be a long ride,
Yeah.
and I guess this is who I am. And I feel like college is kind of like that, where you're trying to find your identity and you're trying to see like who you can fit in with.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started talking to Janice in that class and she started busting out Korean, talking about her interests and
Mixing
just
in the
like being
Konglish.
mixing in the Konglish and just being herself, I was like so mind blown. Like, oh my gosh, there's another person like me. I don't know why I'm getting kind of emotional talking
Aww.
about this, but I was just like, oh my gosh, like I'm not alone.
Mm.
Like there's another girl who likes Korean stuff, speaks Korean,
Yeah.
but is also like American too, and like going to like UCLA with me,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like this is so cool. And like that's when I was like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I can really, really be good friends with this girl.
Yeah.
And that's where like our friendship kind of blossomed.
Yeah, it's true. That's perfectly said. I think that is truly the moment where I felt like, even for me, I remember that moment too. I was like, oh, 이거다.
all your hatred kind of dissipated.
Just melted away.
Just melted away.
Oh, I misjudged her. She's gonna be my best friend.
Mm. That's always a good memory to look back on.
And so here we are. That was like what, over 10 years ago.
That's crazy.
And I'm just glad that we're finally doing this, Jess.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna go out to the world.
If it ever uploads,
it will.
Okay.
It will this time. And I think this is a good place to kind of wrap it up. This is season 1. You can expect maybe 5 episodes with me and Jess.
Mm-hmm.
And if all goes well, and if Jess isn't burnt out by then, I'm going to push for a season 2. A season 2, bring in some guests. We're going to say something?
Dude, that's going to be fun. That's going to be fun. Well, I was going to say, like, if you are listening to this, I'm the type of person where, like, if you show me some love, if you show some reactions, some feedback, that's where I get really fired up, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, yo.
Wait.
Like, I could do this.
What's your love language again, Jess?
You know, I feel like it constantly changes.
Yeah.
I feel like I definitely give words of affirmation.
Yes.
That's like something I'm very good at.
And that's why we work so well, because my receiving love language is words of affirmation. And Jess always has the right things to say to make me feel better and encouraged.
And you know what I think? I think like I receive acts of services very well. And Janice is a very, very sacrificial, always serving, always.
Am I?
Yes, Janice, are you serious?
I don't know.
Come on.
I feel like acts of service is so hard.
Janice, it's like pale in you to like do acts of service. Are you kidding me? What are you saying?
Well, I don't know.
Janice, okay, guys, let me just talk about what this girl does. She cooks for her dad, her family, every day.
You know
what? She cooks for them.
I think any daughter would do that if she lived with her parents, not just me.
I don't think so.
It is hard. It is hard. Okay, but anyways, I think your love language regarding this podcast, your love language is words of affirmation. So, folks, bring on the messages. Send some love to Jess. Tell her to keep going.
Encourage me.
I think this is gonna be great. It's a great first episode. Like I said, 5 episodes, and then we'll see how it goes. And
wait, I thought we had another corner that we're gonna do.
Okay, we're Xing that corner. I'm over this.
Why?
Okay, fine. Really quick. Okay.
Wait.
Because we said our freaking recommendation like 4 freaking times.
Well, it's still gonna be a corner that we're gonna do.
Yes.
No, Kangchu corner.
Yes. Do you want to introduce the corner, please?
Wow, Janice is jaded, and I'm encouraging it. How the tables have turned. We were thinking like maybe we should have a little corner, like in our podcast, and it was gonna be called Kangchu Corner. Basically, a strong recommendation. That's what it translates to.
Kangchu.
But you're right. I feel like I don't want to share
we
anymore.
We could be really quick. Okay. Let me just share my Kangchu of the week. If you haven't watched
Okay.
Yeonennamme, aka Love Siblings, aka Romance Siblings, I've been freaking posting about this like every single week. It is such a good show. It's my favorite romantic dating reality show. I've never loved a cast like everybody, the whole cast. It's so good. Jess still has not watched it. I remind her every single week to watch it. Refuses to watch it because I get it. It's 2 hours. It's a long time. Just put it in the background. I cried the first 3 episodes, so I highly recommend that. That's
The
my
first 3?
Yes, I bawled.
Dang.
And also
Oh
Danielle
my
came
gosh.
over and she bawled.
That's on your YouTube Shorts clip.
It is. It has it's also on TikTok. 70K views right now. Not bad.
Dang.
Not bad. Okay.
Yeah, it's so funny because we talked about this for the past 3 episodes, right?
Mhm.
Attempts. And she brought this up every time. And I still have not watched it.
It is my strong recommendation.
It's so funny because we're saying like it's our Kangchu and we're not listening to each other. We're not taking the strong recommendation. But yeah, take it or leave it, guys. Kangchu is just a corner. That is just to like, plant something in your head.
Wait, what's
so like
your
later
Kangchu?
on, my Kangchu, I feel like it changed every like attempt.
I love that.
Yeah. I think I'll stick with the last thing I said.
Uh-huh.
I think I like Kangchu'd like a churro thing
Oh yeah.
from H Mart. Because I was saying like everyone's like hyped about the koguma thing,
Mhm.
which is really good. I heard the chestnut one is good.
Bomb.
I heard the what is it? The
Potato.
potato one is good. And I tried the sweet potato one. It was pretty good too. But I was saying like don't sleep on the churro, the
Oh.
frozen churros at H Mart, because I was pleasantly surprised.
Mhm.
It's frozen and like made already, and all you have to do is heat it up
Ooh,
in your air fryer or oven, and they have like a small packet of the sugar
like cinnamon sugar.
that you could sprinkle, a cinnamon sugar that you can sprinkle on
Sounds
after
bomb.
it's heated up. It was delicious. Me and Josh were like mind blown.
Just fresh churros at your house.
Yes, yeah, and it's like the perfect size too, because like churros like that you get, it's like too big and
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
But these ones were like about this size. It's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Perfect snack.
Perfect snack.
So there's our
Love it.
Kangchu for the week, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it, guys.
Some reminders. Sorry. A few reminders, please. If you haven't noticed, Jess and I do speak a lot of Korean, Konglish.
Yeah.
So if you would like, you can watch this episode because it will have subtitles, I think,
Mhm.
if I'm not too lazy about
Mm.
it. But yeah, if
Wow.
you are interested, check out our podcast on my YouTube channel where you could see our faces. And my YouTube channel is It's Janice. And like we talked about earlier, I am on this creative journey, trying to post as much as possible because why the heck not? You only live once. So check
Mhm.
me out on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, It's Janice, not Hi, It's Janice, It's Janice. Jess, would you like to share your socials as well?
No. But you know what, guys? Janice, I just want to say, man, like her content is so funny. And it's really like I've been very proud of you, Janice, because we've had a conversation before, like with our other friends, like what works, what doesn't work.
Mhm.
And one thing that we mentioned to Janice is like, Janice, you gotta be yourself, You can't get nervous and like create a fabricated version of yourself, which I feel like, everyone does at a certain point.
Yep.
But I feel like you've been very good at capturing like your genuine, character.
It's hard, man. Content creation is so hard. And I have been trying to get Jess to become a momfluencer for like ever since Hui was born because Hui's freaking cute and Jess has such a fun personality, but she just won't do it. She won't do it. So let's encourage her to do that as well.
We could get into that a little bit later, as we explore more episodes and get to know each other a little bit. But I, like, on the contrary, am a very like self-conscious person.
A little shy.
I'm a little shy.
Whenever
I say that, people get like really surprised.
Yeah.
but I'm pretty like closed off.
You got to get
You
out
know?
of your shell. Once you do it, it's just you just run with it, you know? I'm still freaking
Yeah.
awkward with it, but
No,
we're having fun.
guys.
We're having fun.
Anyways, check out Janice's channel, guys. All her handles. She creates really, really good content, really funny, relatable
Aw.
content.
Aw.
My recent favorite is her basil one, where you know,
Just
the
check it
song
out.
goes,
Just check it
dun,
out.
da, da, dun. Yeah, just check it out. It's really funny.
All right, you guys. Thanks, Jess. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And see you next time. Bye.
See you next episode, guys. Bye.
We did